Hey, John, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Yeah, are you there, John?
Did it unmute correctly?
Oh, there we go. Now I hear you. Yeah.
Gotta love Zoom. It says
Yes.
it's green and nothing comes up.
Yes.
How are you?
Good. Good. Looking forward to the weekend, though. Tell you that.
Good fall plans?
No, just not working. Actually, I got like serious yard work to do. I got to aerate, seed the lawn, that kind of stuff. So,
Oh, it's one of those weekends.
yes,
Yeah.
one of those weekends.
A lot of work, but very different. Yes.
Yes. Yep. Actually, I was going to check what the weather's going to be like. We had a really good storm yesterday, so that's great. Oh, excellent. Cooler weather, only a slight chance of drizzle. Nice. Perfect. Yo, Tommy.
Yo.
Hey, Clemens. Hey, Klaus.
Hello.
Hey, Doc. And thank you, Clemens, for finishing up that PR.
Good.
Morning, Lance.
Morning, Doug.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Hey, Remy.
Hey.
Hey, Doug. Jesse here.
Hey, Jesse.
This is an unsolicited hello. Hey, Doug.
Unsolicited. Well, hello, Jim. So, Jim, I'm just curious. Are you in California or are you in the UK?
One of those, yeah. No, yeah, no, California.
Okay. All right, I'm just curious.
in the smoky section.
Is there a forest fire over there right now?
Actually, they keep popping up. I think they've got the large ones under control, but there's still a lot of smoke in the air.
Oh, I didn't realize there was one going on right now.
We get whiffs of it. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Doug.
All right, just another minute, then we'll get started. I have a fairly short agenda today. Oops, I guess I can do this. Hey, Mark.
Hi, Doug.
Yeah, dun, 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 dun. All right. All right, why don't I go ahead and get started? Let's see, 12 people. Oops. All right. So Klaus and Clemens, just a quick reminder, you guys are going to be looking at the follow-ups to Eric's issue, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure it's out there. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, community time. Anything from the community people want to bring up? All right, not hearing it. Last time I checked, there's nothing on the SDK agenda for this week. So if you have anything, please add it before the end of this call. Moving forward, nothing from KubeCon I can think of for either one. Teamers not on the calls. Let's jump into PRs. Okay, so this one. Didn't see any comments on it. Oh wait. Shh. Wait, what? Huh. Yeah, I don't think John's comment here would apply because if we adopt my other PR, then unsupported filter to return an error. So I don't think his concern would apply. Hopefully. So has anybody had a chance to look at this or have any comments, suggestions, concerns? Just refresh your memory. This is to make it clear that when you get an empty result set, not because it's an invalid query, but rather just there's nothing that matches, rather than returning a 404 or some other kind of error, instead we just return an empty array. Questions, comments? Okay, any objection to approving?
Good.
All right, cool, thank you all. All right, Remy, this is too new to approve, but thought you might want to discuss it.
Yeah, that's what we discussed last week. Is just I walked early this morning, just removing the cast, all the casts in C SQL,
Mhm.
just because it seems to not be super useful as is. So just maybe scrap it or add it later if we find like a right use case. I'm open, like I'm not saying it's just I don't have a use case. I don't see the use case. If someone else think I'm wrong, I'll be happy to just drop the PR. But as is, like as we discussed last week, I was thinking maybe we should just remove it for now and add it back later if we think it's useful.
There's a bit of a hand wavy thing here that you did.
Sorry.
There's a bit of a hand wavy trick that you've done here, and that is you are referring to an implicit cast. Have we defined what that implicit cast is?
I mean, I didn't check per se. I just removed the reference to explicit because it was the respec was like that. So I suppose it was defined. Maybe it's not. Well, I'm okay to recheck if you want.
No, I think what you're doing there trends in the right direction. So I like this, but I think we still need to do the work of actually defining what the cast is. Because so the point is, this is a language definition. So the language really needs to define how the type mapping works.
So I did not write the spec, but I'm
Yeah.
okay with you.
You're editing it, so that kind of, unfortunately, you break it to jail.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, no, I'm fine with checking what you said. I think it's good, but at least it was just to see if other people has remarked. So those kind of comments is good. It's just going in the right direction. I'm not looking into merging the PR today.
I've pasted a link to the AMQP spec, AMQP filters, and section 6.3 is basically saying, here are the kinds of conversions that are allowed. Like, just as an example. Just for you to look at effectively. Because when we say that there's a cast allowed, then there's, yes.
I think for me, that's what has been defined in 3.7 by Slinky. So not on that one, but on the original spec, like the expression language. He says like implicit casting rules in order. So if it's not ambiguous, cast X to the target type and things like that. So yeah, you need to display the full spec.
What section do you want me to go to?
3.7.
Sorry. Okay, got it.
So that was what was defined. In my opinion, it seems pretty well defined.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure that we had that.
Okay, so that implies that no additional investigation is needed for the implicit side of things.
You won't get it out.
No, it's okay. I mean that makes that so okay. It wasn't present in my mind. Let's put it this way, that that we had that defined. So given that we have that defined, I'm okay with the PR.
Whoa. Dude.
Okay. Okay.
I was just blanking on the fact that we had rules for that.
Okay. Well, it like you said, it's a little too soon to merge, and just to let you know, I did ping Ahmed to review this because I think he has a strong interest in the spec too. And I know he doesn't normally join the calls, but I want him to review it too.
Yeah, and maybe I can try to ping Slinky. Maybe, I mean, he wrote almost the whole spec, so he might still have an opinion, even if he's not there.
That'd be good. Okay. In the meantime, does anybody have any questions or comments? Anybody have any concern with removing it? Okay. So take your time, review it. Yeah, obviously up to next week. Okay. Moving forward. Yeah.
I won't be there next week, just to let you know. So
okay. Okay.
I'll let you decide on the fate of the PR next week.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Just watch for comments before the next
yeah.
week's call. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you for that. And let's see, you have one more. This one might require a little more discussions. But why don't you go ahead and introduce this one?
So with what we discussed last week, I think there was a UUID constraint of the ID, which I think was a little bit too restrictive. So when I update this morning and I removed that constraint, I basically noticed that between ID and name, it was ending up with the same constraint because, okay, no, sorry, I'll go back one. We decided, like talking with Klaus, we thought like it would be a good idea to put authority like in the schema registry within the discovery protocol. And by doing that, that means now the uniqueness is authority plus ID. And as name was already unique within the endpoint, I thought like it was kind of double, like same definition between ID and name. So that's why I was like, let's remove completely ID if it's the same than name. But I think John had like a pretty nice comment on that part. So I was maybe a little bit too brutal on the cleaning part, but I think we can keep ID. So I'll update the PR, but to keep ID, but add authority. And then you can decide if you want ID and name to be equal. It's up to you in the implementation, and still remove the UUID constraint, because as we discussed, there is some other type of ID that can be valid within one implementation. So the goal will be to just add authority, which is basically who decide the uniqueness, like the scope of the uniqueness, and keep ID.
Okay, so I think last time we talked about this, I think there was general consensus to lift the restriction on it being on ID being a UUID, allow it to be other things. So I guess the question for the group here is, what do people think of adding an authority property? Any concerns? Okay. I'm assuming, though, based upon John's comment, you're going to remove the idea of name and authority being unique, because in particular, the one comment he had was the same thing I was thinking of, is name could technically change over time because someone may do a rename.
Yeah, exactly. So the goal is like, basically it's going to be authority plus ID is unique globally.
Yeah. So does that mean you're going to make it so that ID does not have to be globally unique by itself?
Yeah, by itself, for me, it should not be global. Like it can be, it doesn't have to be global unique, just on the ID. Because the authority is basically creating the uniqueness, in my opinion.
I agree.
Okay. Klaus, your hand's up.
Yeah, so I like it. I mean, I discussed it also with Remy last week on Slack, and I think it's, yeah, I've been looking at the schema registry spec a lot over the past week or so, because I essentially plan to transfer a lot of the concepts in there also to the discovery spec. And so that goes definitely into that direction. Yeah, I wonder if it's an ID plus authority, or what role the name will play, because not all concepts from the schema registry can be transferred one-to-one to the discovery spec, because in schemas you have the schema versions, and so and the schema version ID, I think that's what we are looking for here, then what will play that role. But yeah, in general, I like the direction.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Anybody else want to speak up? Okay, cool. Okay, so I think if you just clean it up, sounds like most people are generally okay with the direction, so that's all good.
Yeah, I'll update. I'll put
Okay.
back ID and clean it up.
All right, cool.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
Yep, thank you. And this one, okay, this one, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to really do much on it, other than I did look at it again this morning. And come on. I still, let me hide the comments for a second here. So I still think this is the right way to go. Eric, I did read your comments, thank you. I still think, though, that I'd like to put the filter wrapper around the search, the query parameters. I'm sorry, not query parameters. Yeah, well, I guess there are query parameters, different level of query parameters. I'd still like to add the filter thing in front, mainly because then it allows for us to deal with query parameters separate from the filter parameters. And like I said, we could be a little more strict on what we allow and disallow here. The one question I had for the group, and it's that comment I hid, is the way I define it right now, you can actually specify filter more than once, or you can actually combine them by separating things with a comma. And I realized this morning that might be problematic, especially if some attributes actually do support a comma in the value. So I was leaning more towards removing this optimization and saying, no, if you want to do multiple filters, which would be an implied and, then you have to do multiple filter query parameters and not try to merge them all together. But I wanted to get a sense from the group to see what you guys thought.
My first thought is that it would be fine to let people use commas and then also allow the list the filter parameter multiple times to give a list if you have a case where you need commas in the part.
How do we know if a comma is a comma or a separator?
Do you have multiple filter parameters?
Wait, you lost me.
Do you have, is filter listed multiple times in the parameter?
It could be.
Okay, well then you would not interpret commas. The case that's a problem is if you have a single and you want a value with a comma in it. I'm not sure exactly how you deal with that, but you could make a dummy filter parameter.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that worries me. Because like we can also do some sort of escaping thing, but I thought that might be getting more complicated than it's worth. So like I said, I'm leaning more towards just saying, screw it. Don't allow the optimization, just require separate filter things. I mean, I do like the comma thing because I like things nice to be nice and terse, but if it leads to ambiguity, I think that's a bigger problem. Anybody else have an opinion? Okay, I'll think more about what you said though, Eric. But I don't think it's ready to vote this week because of that. But in general, are people okay with the direction that I'm headed with this? Okay, not hearing anything. I'll go back and revamp that and try to get it ready for next week. All right, with that, as John is joining the call, we can all bail now. No,
see it coming.
Yeah. So, okay, that actually is the end of the agenda, by the way. Does anybody have any topics they want to bring up? Okay.
Just quickly on that last PR,
Yes, sir.
have you had further thought about how tooling is going to know what filters are supported?
I've in the background, I've been kind of thinking about it. I don't know whether, because I know in your comment you suggested, maybe something like the options or head thing. I'm leaning more towards a dedicated API for discovery endpoint because I think there's going to be other bits of information that somebody's going to want to discover besides the filter things. I think there can be other things to share, and I'm not sure we could stick all that under HTTP headers. I think I'd rather it be a little more formalized with JSON. So that's my current thought process, but haven't decided yet. But I don't think we necessarily need that as part of this PR. Unless you guys think differently, I can try to add it if we really want to and force my mind to come up with a solution before next week. Do you think it's required for this PR, Eric, or is it okay to split it?
I think it's probably fine to split it, but yeah, I would think that if we merge this, then that becomes an issue that probably should be thought about. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I like to split it, but I'll definitely see what I can do by next week, so at least get a rough draft out there. Okay, thank you. All right, John, I got you. Manuel, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. And Daniel?
Hello.
Hello. All right. Any other topics you might have missed for the attendee list? Okay, in that case, before we let everybody go, I don't see any topics for the SDK call. Anybody have anything at last minute? All right, in that case, you're probably all free to go. Other than Clemens, just a quick question for you. Have you had a chance to update your endpoint? I haven't checked recently.
I have not.
Okay. Just let me know when you do, and I'll do a quick
Yes,
test.
yes, I
Okay,
will.
cool.
Yep.
All right. In that case, I think we're done.
Bye. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you all. Have a good weekend. Bye.
All right.